Let's talk about the Anderson County Council meeting for March the 5th, 2019.
Yeah, tonight we had a couple of just very straightforward issues and on top of that some routine items. But we started off the night hearing from the Crescent Clay Shooting Club. And it was an impressive group of young people, boys and girls, who had won first place on the high school level, and also second place on the high school level, and then also the middle school level won first place in clay sport shooting at Crescent High School. So they're looking for a facility here in Anderson that they could host events at, and was looking for county council participation on that. We then went into a continuation of discussion from last week in which we talked about trash in the county and different ways we could clean it up. We started by recognizing Greg Smith and Sandy Hayes with the department that handles this. They had received an upper regional award for awareness, and that's key because that's one of the things we've talked about in weeks leading up is just making people aware that this is a problem and the best ways to try to reach a solution. From that, Ms. Floyd continued her conversation about trash in the county and about bringing folks together either on the county level from a staff perspective or even county council members about looking for innovative solutions. It's anytime you have a topic that's recurring year in and year out, you're always looking for something new that can move the needle and gain some progress. From that, we went into our typical scenario of first, second, and third readings on items. And for third reading, we finalized a development project of 108 acres on Highway 29 and Cox Road. This is a project that Ms. Wilson's been encouraged about and has been moving it forward and speaking favorably of it. We also went into a second reading on a joint county park with Greenville. It's another administrative item where they're doing economic development, but we participate with them in doing the credits, and they do that vice versa for us. From that, we went into a series of first readings. One was with a solar energy group that was looking to develop a piece of property. The second one was actually a company that we're allowing some infrastructure credits for them to come in and do a spec building. So one of the questions was like, why don't we do the spec building? And we've done that in the past and had great success, but we have to come out of pocket for it. We have to borrow the money and take the risk. And in this scenario, we're able to provide the credit to an outside company who comes in, builds the spec building, has it ready, and that way our economic development folks can work directly with them, because statistics show that if you have a good building that meets the requirements and is ready to go, then companies are willing to come, and we want to keep our foot on the gas when it comes to that. One of the final things that we saw in first reading, and it was in title only, was an issue brought forward by Ms. Wilson about drones. And so in the Hammond, Cheddar, and Hopewell area, some people have been talking about seeing drones at night. So there's a concern, there's a privacy concern, there's a safety concern from an aerial standpoint, and how do you monitor that to make sure that everything's being taken care of. It was ultimately voted to take it to committee because there's some complicated areas with that, because you have federal guidance, you have state guidance, and then you also have local guidance. So anytime something gets a little bit complicated like that, we'd like to take it to committee so we can sort of hear from the experts from the county and from the different departments to make sure that if we are moving forward that we're doing something that doesn't have unintended consequences and ultimately allows us to fulfill our mission of what we're trying to accomplish. So with the complications with the FAA and the state, we're going to take that to committee and look at it in a little bit more depth. From that, we went into a couple of basic resolutions that really just upheld what we're trying to do in economic development. A lot of times you'll see a resolution mirror an economic development ordinance, and that's a procedural item that just shows support across the board. We then heard from Councilman Sanders about TTI subcommittee meeting. Some people may not know, but the the county now owns the TTI facility on 28 Bypass, and that was part of an economic development deal, and it's going to allow us to consolidate services there. It's allow us to save money and be more efficient from a county standpoint. But anytime you're moving things together, there's a lot of coordination. So this committee is looking at the best way to make that transition happen from the different departments and how that timeline lays out. Then we heard from the shop committee, which was Councilman Davis, and the shop is actually going to be on the TTI facility. But that's part of the consolidation to bring the machinery, the cars, the trucks, the maintenance of these items onto an updated facility. So from that, we went into executive session and we received legal advice in regards to Colonial Pipeline, which would be a large pipeline coming through the county affecting multiple districts. Ultimately, council decided to allow legal counsel to take us forward in that case to make sure that we protect the rights of the county and the landowners and the well-being. So with that, we finalized it with some appropriations for some local charities that were doing some upcoming events. And then the council members typically have some parting remarks at the end just about some things going in their district. And then we heard from citizens. But ultimately, it was a pretty quick night, and not a lot of fanfare, but some substantive items that we took care of. So it was a good meeting.